This channel is supported by my online fishing courses, and you can learn more and get significant discounts at saltstrong.com/Skinner. I'll have links to all of the gear in the video description, and if you like this video, please hit the like button. If you're not already a subscriber, please subscribe. Okay, going to be tossing a variety of baits under docks and going to catch a variety of fish. Yeah, I'd like to get sheep's head. That's something I can eat down here, because right now snook, redfish, trout, all of that stuff is closed out for eating. Look at that water quality, not good. So what's that about? The wind just doesn't stop. It's been really kind of windy, and it's kicked the Gulf up, and so the water's kind of milky color, but it's not that bad, and well, we'll see what happens. All right, I'm starting with shrimp just to see what's around. I've only got like 3 or 4 mud crabs, but I have a huge blue claw crab, which I can get a ton of bait from, and see how that works. All right, since I've got a sheep's head on the piece of shrimp, I'm going to switch over to the mud crab. All right, a definite keeper sheep's head. That's fine with me. And I'll toss on another one of the mud crabs. And yeah, gotta be a little careful throwing in there, because the current's going to suck it down towards that piling, get snagged. So I just try to throw a little bit up current, have it drift down almost against the piling. All right, but that's it for the mud crabs. I'm out. But I've got this guy, and boy, he's a big one. And I'm figuring I can get a lot of baits out of this guy, because I can cut him up into pieces. I can use parts of the body. I can use the legs, the claws, and I did all of that. And I can tell you, I caught nothing on what you're seeing here. I went through body pieces, put pieces of claw on, crushed the claw, and clearly the fish are here, and did not work. They didn't want it. I have just a leg on the jig head here. All right, finally a hook up, and I dropped it, but it didn't look like a sheep's head. It was too skinny. Do it again. Okay, first snook in the new boat. Oh, actually, the new old boat's a 31-year-old flat skiff. But yeah, that's the first snook I've had. Not the normal way I catch them, but all right, you can see that crab leg on a jig. Hey, I've got all these big, beautiful shrimp, so let's toss those under the dock, since it looks like I hooked up 2 snook on 2 casts. All right, looks like these jigs tipped with shrimp work pretty well. So these jigs, my northern followers know that I'm associated with S&S Bucktails up in New Jersey. And these are under my name, John Skinner jigs, and they're sheep's head jigs. They're great for sheep's head, but looks like they'll double for snook jigs in a situation like this. And there's a link to those in the video description. All right, so I ended up catching a lot of snook, but no size. And they shut down. I dropped back a little bit on the spot lock to work these pilings that are a little bit farther back. And yeah, so I have no crab now. I just have shrimp, but I figured I'd give it a try anyway. And you know what? There's still sheep's head here. So the spot lock on the trolling motor was awesome for being able to move up and down the dock and try different spots and not have to deal with an anchor. And despite all of this wind, it hardly used any battery. It's very efficient. But it was clear to me, if I had had more mud crabs that trip, I definitely would have done way better on the sheep's head. So I made sure next time out, which that's this trip here a couple days later, I made sure I had plenty of mud crabs with me. And what a difference this is going to make. Now, first of all, the wind had calmed down in the preceding day or so, and so the water cleared up quite nicely. And it was just really wind whipped on the previous trip. And you'll be able to see that color difference this time. All right, so I hooked that crab on there, and then I'll use the scissors or pliers, whatever, just to give a little cut or a little crush, get some juices flowing, and just toss that thing in there by the pilings. So I'm only in about 5 or 6 feet of water here. I try to start with an 1/8 ounce jig. Now you can see I've got current, I've got a lot of wind. If it's a little bit too much and the jig is really sweeping down, then I'll switch over to something like a 1/4 or at 3/8 at most for this. We'll do it. Another thing I'll do is if the current is dragging the crab too much, I'll just cut the legs and the claws off. And actually that seems to work maybe even a little better, because when the legs and the claws are on there, it seems like the fish can grab onto those and rip the bait off easier.
Wow. I have a big sheep.
Okay, this is fun. Check out in the back corner of the dock, those two pilings. There's a fish right there. There's a big sheep's head right between those two pilings. So I'm seeing that. I'm looking over at that thing swimming around, trying to figure out where can I cast over there and get a shot at this thing. Usually if you see a sheep's head, you spook it, maybe not so easy to catch. And that cast didn't help. It was a good cast, but it kind of went in one of those holes. And I was lucky not to get snagged. That's kind of one of the advantages of a jig. It's a little less likely to get snagged than if I had like a split shot and a hook. All right, I went past the piling this time, and I dragged it and dropped it right in front of the structure. Yeah, this is a really nice one. So let's take a look from the other camera angle. You can see him right there. It's right between those two back corner pilings. Really nice little spot for him to be in. Not such an easy spot to cast to him. Wow, I sight casted that one.
Wow, and I got the big one too. Oh, he's gonna make a run here. Oh, that's my best one.
I don't know what that weighed. It's fat. I measured it on the fillet table. It was 20 inches, so that was definitely a really good one. So, boy, I don't think I'm even going to bother going sheep's head fishing in this area with just shrimp or something. I definitely have to have mud crabs, or if I could ever buy fiddlers, that would be great. They're like never available. I don't live near sand beaches, or put it this way, it's a long drive to any sand beaches by me. So sand fleas are another thing that probably work well, but I can't get those either. I can get these. They're a little bit of work, but they sure work well. Well, the shadow barely shows on video, but I've got a dolphin under there, so I'm really trying to get this guy in the net.
If I don't get him, the dolphin's gonna get him. Dolphin right there.
Okay, so with plenty of sheep's head in the cooler, before I went home, I went into some backwaters, and I need to practice with the foot pedal and the trolling motor a little bit. It's going to be a little learning curve for all of that with this rig, but yeah, did a little bit of plugging. Okay, if you like this video, please hit the like button, and if you're not already a subscriber, please subscribe.